if you have the abundance mindset, you'll just start to see everybody around you coming together and wanting to do stuff. If you could have just bought one really nice guitar and learned how to play it instead of.
If you're creative, what's more important than sharing more to the world? And if you can create a business out of it, you can put more of your art out there.
I figured it out. You know, I didn't have 5,000 sitting in the bank account. It was like, all right, I'm going to go pawn these guitars. I can buy new guitars. I want to talk about how the famine mindset is killing your projects. I've been going through a shift. When I was a kid, we used to go to church, and my pastor, I wore Ninja Turtle shirt. My pastor was calling me Cowabunga dude all the time, and his wife was like, "Don't call him that. You don't know what that means." And so he started calling me Abundant dude. And I kind of like that. Looking back, I'm like, why did I not just adopt that? Because I don't like the word manifesting, but I'm gonna use it here. Manifesting that into my life would be huge. But it does have a huge role, like the way you perceive yourself and the way you perceive everything around you, trying not to have this famine mindset and trying to have more of an abundant thinking process. And I'll get into like how we can use accountability and bigger thinking, setting the bar. You do this a lot, Slatz, where you just set the bar so freaking high. Like, I don't even know if I could keep up with your bar.
Yeah, it's I don't know if that's a blessing or a curse, but yeah, I
Speaking of bars, JLD said $5 a month is undervaluing myself. I know it's undervaluing myself, and that's the point. Like, I want to provide so much value that they're like, I'm going to pay this dude $5,000. No, we'll see. The price will probably get raised at some point. But yeah, like I try to raise the bar for myself all the time, and I'm debating sometimes if I should raise it to your level. Like me and Sly have been talking about, yeah, maybe we should pay $1,000 to get our stuff mixed and mastered. Maybe that's the route to go instead of paying these 200, 250. Or even my stuff. I think my stuff's probably around like a $200, $300 range as far as like quality goes.
Yeah, you're the stuff you've showed me that you've mixed and mastered's been amazing.
It's not $1,000 yet, though. That's what I'm like. I've been trying for years to get there, and I just can't. I can't figure out what it is. So paying somebody else, huge. And again, like if you have a famine mindset and somebody says $1,000, you're like, well, I can't afford that. There's a saying, people aren't resourceful until they don't have the resources. Or wait, what's the phrase? Hold on, let me look this up, because this is huge. People aren't.
There's also the like necessity is the mother of invention. It's like if you need to do something and you know there's no other way to do it, you invent a way to do it.
Necessity, yeah. But there's another saying that people, that's what it is. People that already have the resources cannot be resourceful. And so like it kind of kicks you into this mindset of like, in order to get to that $1,000 mark that you got to pay for to get your mixes, you almost have to be resourceful. And that word wouldn't exist if everybody just had the money to pay for it. Like when I had to pay like $5,000 to get in this coaching thing, to learn all the stuff that I've learned. I figured it out. You know, I didn't have 5,000 sitting in the bank account. It was like, all right, I'm going to go pawn these guitars. I can buy new guitars. I'll go deliver some groceries. You know what I mean? I think a lot of people limit themselves to like, oh, I don't have that right now. I don't know how to get the money, because they've got this famine mindset. They don't become resourceful to go and figure out how to make it happen. You know what I mean? Does that make sense?
Definitely.
Is that tracking? Okay.
Definitely.
I just want to make sure it's tracking. That's why I wanted to have you on, because I can't just ask those questions. And
well, I think also I might be a bit weird, but I enjoy delayed gratification. So
yeah, that is a bit weird. I'm not gonna lie.
even if I could, the my favorite guitar was a ESP EC1000, and
yeah,
I basically thought, okay, I need to save up to buy this guitar, and I never buy new guitars, so I had to actually find it secondhand. I saved up and I hit that money, and then I went, no, I don't deserve it yet. I need to hit, 500,000 streams. And so I then waited and then pushed myself to get the 500,000 streams till I could buy the guitar. So
beautiful.
even though I sort of got there, the money, by selling stuff and doing everything, I then set myself another bar to be able to get there. So
it's funny, like, okay, there's this guitar player. He used to pay me like $60 to mix his music back in the day. He couldn't afford a good mix. He also wasn't a great guitar player. He also had really crappy guitars, but he had a wall filled with $200 guitars. He probably had 8 or 9, and I'm like, you could have just bought one really nice guitar and learned how to play it instead of buying 8 or 9 $200 guitars. So I think that may be a big problem. I wonder how common that is with musicians at the lower level, to just have, buy all the cheap stuff and never invest in the. I wouldn't say you have to go for like a $2,000, $3,000 guitar, but like a $700-800 one, that's enough to get better quality than what you're getting.
Yeah,
to get going at least. So I got a note here. Famine mindset means to think from a place of fear, always underpricing yourself, always undervaluing yourself. I guess I kind of JLD's right. I guess I got to raise my price or something. I don't know. And you're preventing yourself from taking opportunities because you feel like you're not ready. Another thing that you're really good at, like, you just go straight for the gusto and hit up Head PE and Dropout Kings. Like, you don't undervalue yourself at all. You're like, I'm just going to go for it and see what happens.
Yeah, well, it's I guess it's just, so if you rate your music and you rate that song and you think who's going to be good on it, then like I sort of wrote with those guys in mind and waited till I had a song that I thought was good enough and got it fully mixed and mastered, just the instrumental, and then sent that on to them. So it's you can't, what's that phrase? Don't be scared to ask questions, just don't be offended at the answer. So, if I got a no, then it's whatever. But
it's just a no, it's whatever. Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess the problem sometimes you shoot your shot and miss, and it makes it harder to shoot the next shot. But diligence, shoot your shot with more people, I guess, is really what it comes down to. Man.
Yeah. And as I've said before, just respect the relationship, because it's all based on relationships. If they don't know who you are, chances are they're going to say no. So, it's a lot of work goes in on the front end, but it's not even work. It's respect. You're showing them the respect you want to get. And I guess that goes back to the mindset that you're trying to create here is, one, I believe, or a couple of things. To start with, the famine mindset is also not taking accountability for yourself. So pointing the finger at everyone else. This didn't go right, so it's your fault. It's your fault. It's your fault. It's this fault. Whatever. I believe everyone's got to look in the mirror more. From my project management background, I can control most things, and when I can't, and if something goes wrong, I then look at it and go, what could I have done better? Could I have researched that better? Could I have put more time into the front end of that better? Did I not communicate properly with that person? I always sort of put it back on myself and then learn from that and then try implement that. I'm very against people just blaming everyone else. So I take accountability first. And then the people that point the finger are generally more of a negative person. And I believe there's a silver lining to everything, and you've just got to learn the lesson out of it. So hang out with positive people, surround yourself with positive people, and yeah, just think there's a way to get through it. Don't see the roadblock, see the
solution.
road around the roadblock. You know?
The road around the roadblock.
Always way.
Well, I have managed to find like the longest route around the roadblock, but it's the coolest one. I can't. I'm trying not to spoil the book, but it's so good. It's so good. Shoot, there was something else I wanted to say. Oh, the Spotify mindset. I think that's the way people treat Spotify. We're already in a famine because there's so little people making money off of Spotify streams in comparison to like the 1% of the streams go to certain people, and then nobody else really gets paid that much. And so people want to blame. And so here's a couple of examples, and we can kind of relate these. In Ireland, there was a great famine, 1845. They had an over-reliance on potatoes, had this scarcity mindset around one crop, and then the blight hit. I think that's the problem with everybody going to Spotify. It's like Spotify. Well, when Spotify's not paying you out, you can't blame Spotify. You just didn't diversify yourself enough. And whose fault is that? Is that, you know what I mean? You can't go on Instagram or TikTok and complain about Spotify when it's your business that's at fault. You know what I mean?
Correct. Yep.
Then Bengal, I think that's how you pronounce it. They had a famine in 1943. No accountability to their people, so they protected the powerful and they let the weak starve. That's an accountability problem, 100% there. The Soviets under Stalin, there's warning signs. They suppressed them. They punished the farmers. Still, again, no accountability, and then famine spread. So this is what I've talked about, going all in on stuff before, and I don't, obviously you've got a job, so you're not all in, but you're all in spirit, I guess. I think the reason all in works for most people is because it forces you to push when you normally wouldn't, and it forces you to believe in the abundance that's coming in the middle of the famine. You know what I mean? Like, the money's not in your bank account yet, but if you push, you'll be fine. And I think there's that difference where some people are going to look at their current situation and say, well, I'm already screwed, I might as well not even try, versus the people that have a positive mindset that are going to say, I can't pay my bills next week, I got to figure something out.
Yep.
And that, I think that's the difference. And for me, like, I love going all in on stuff. It pushes me to my limits, and I'm always surprised at what I can do. So with abundance, you think I will have enough, I can figure it out, I have value. I think those are the three things. Like, I already have enough, I know I can figure it out. I think a lot of people just don't believe they can figure it out.
Yeah.
And they don't believe they have value. And that's 90% of what the book is about, is figuring out what your value is and how to value it. Because your value isn't necessarily your music. It's much more than that. It's I can go for a bit on that. But I guess the key behind this is to escape slavery and to move into freedom, leaving that 9-to-5 job where you're not valued. I mean, maybe if you're salaried, you're a little valued, but you're not valued based off of the value that you're bringing. You're valued based off of how much they've determined they're going to pay for that role. It's not often you work a 9-to-5 job where you're going to get paid more because you did a better job. Maybe you get a raise in a year, but when it's your business, the value that you give to people is in direct correlation to your bank account.
That's true. Definitely.
It's a weird conundrum, and I think we need to get back to that as a world in general, because we're so undervalued. when I got my sound design job, I valued myself at $20 an hour, and they said, you know what, we're going to pay you 30. How many companies are going to do that? They knew I was worth 30. They knew I was worth more than 30. They just couldn't afford it. Most companies won't do that. They'll just, we're going to pay you the least amount that we possibly can. To me, I think working for somebody else is in history what they would term slavery. I don't mean like colonial slavery. I mean like way before that, like ancient days, indentured servitude sort of slavery. It's basically the same thing as a 9-to-5 job. You're working for somebody so you can have a roof over your head and you can pay for food. It's about as close to slavery as you can get, but you still have some freedom because you have freedom of choice to choose what you're going to spend your money on. It's not the same level of freedom that you get from being completely independent and having your own business and going out and bringing the value and getting paid for the value and having your, again, bank account directly correlate to that. There's a level of freedom to that. And because of that, you're kind of forced to figure out how to provide more value versus like at your job, you're just trying to do your job. But as a business owner, you're like, how can I provide more value? What can I do on a regular basis? And that's just not something that I see musicians thinking about a lot. What is the value of the words that we use in our songs, the emotional impact that we have, the transformation that we can create, the moods that we set? How much is it worth to somebody to be able to get through their workout because they were listening to your song?
That's
like, what is the value in that? There's value. It's clear value. Otherwise, people wouldn't. It's not $9.99 a month that Spotify's charging. It's much more than that. You know what I mean? And how does that translate to your business model? And what can you do with that? It's all stuff that we're going to be talking about over the next couple of weeks. So yeah, in order to escape this whole trap of scarcity mindset or famine, tracking resource, diversifying your crops, sharing truth, and having collective responsibility. That's all ways that those famines could have been prevented, and we can do the same thing. And that's why I wanted to create this. Do you do agile stuff for your project management at work?
Agile? What's that? Some program?
Oh, I mean, you're a project man. I assumed you know. Agile is something we did in project management for creative fields where the project changes. So I think you're probably doing more waterfall stuff where it's consistent, like you plan the whole project from start to finish, and then it just kind of goes according to plan. But with software, you have to, agile is a way to be able to modify the project midway through without having there be a lot of complications, because you can't really plan out an entire game from start to finish when you don't know what the fun's going to be and you don't know what the complications are going to be in the design. So there's a lot of moving parts, and so they use this agile methodology to plan the project. And one of the things that we do for that, to keep track of where people are at and what's going on, is we do these stand-ups. Maybe that's something that you do, maybe not. Stand-ups are, for us, it was a daily 15-minute call. It's called a stand-up because you're supposed to be standing up the whole time. And everybody went round robin and said, this is what I'm doing. This is what I did yesterday. This is what I'm doing today. And these are the things that's blocking me from getting those things done. And that created so much accountability and clarity between all of us that we could get our jobs done 10 times better, despite all the Jira boards and all the other stuff. So I wanted to create this stand-up forum in the circle, so that on Mondays you could post what you wanted, what you're getting done this week, and or what you got done last week, and then what you want to get done this week, and then anything that you feel like is stopping you from getting that done this week, write it down. That way we can all look at each other and say, hey, maybe I can help you fix this. Um, maybe I can connect you with a person, like you needed a person to do this and you don't have them yet. Maybe I can connect the dots for you. That way, as a community, we can try to stop some of those blockers from happening,
Good idea.
and help you. Yeah. And then also accountability. And it's not necessarily like nobody's going to ream you for missing something, but um, knowing that you posted that and said I was going to get this done this week, and then the next week you have to say, well, I wasn't able to get it done. It's helpful internally to kind of hold yourself to that level of accountability. It only stops working when you become scared or ashamed to say that you failed at it. So I don't want anybody to be like, I'm ashamed that I didn't get that done, because then it doesn't work. Post it.
A little bit of a shame's all right. That's what pushes
A
them
little bit.
to
Yeah, but not so
actually get
much
it
that you
done.
don't want to
Like a
post
boot
it.
camp. You got some trainer standing over you. Run that 100
Yeah,
meters.
run that. Exactly. Man, I've got so many notes. I don't know. We got 30 minutes left, and I want to leave some room for some Q&A at the end of this. So there's so much I could talk about on this. So let me just jump into pricing your stuff. We're selling $75 t-shirts. I was absolutely okay if nobody bought them, because I knew what the value was in the product that we were going to create, and I knew on the back end what was going to suck if I didn't price it that way. Because when you underprice yourself on whatever it is you're selling, you can't afford to make mistakes. You can't afford to have quality. You can't afford to create value, and you can't afford to create more. I don't know how many times I've sold $6 shirts to make a buck at a show, and then not been able to afford to buy more shirts.
Yeah.
Because we given some out or whatever, or we had a bunch of XLs left over, and we couldn't make another order because we needed to sell those XLs in order to make the next order. So be careful how you pricing yourself. Don't be like me and price $5 a month for a membership. That's okay. I'm pricing everything else at like $1,500 and $5,000, so it evens out. I think we're all trying to be Walmart, but we don't have the cash flow that Walmart has.
That's a good one.
Or the experience. As creative people, this is what we were like. This is what we're designed to do. This is what we're built to do. I don't know what happened along the way, but I feel like the word business just became this scary, boring thing that nobody wanted to do that was creative. But in reality, it was the creative people that came up with all the ideas that we think are boring and monotonous now. Because the managerial people, they weren't coming up with these concepts. They're not creative enough to think outside of the box. They just push the paper and go. So I think as creative people, let's take that shit back, and
I think the business side of it is, yeah, people have tainted it by saying it's art. It shouldn't be a business, or it's just, it's art. But what's more important than, if you're creative, what's more important than sharing more to the world? And if you can create a business out of it, you can put more of your art out there.
Yeah.
And the world's a better place. We need more creative fields. We need more art and music and whatever it may be to be getting out into the world. So finding a way to create a cash flow out of that and creating a business, to me, is super important. A lot of artists just think it's unattainable, or they go, I don't know how to run a business. Well, learn. Like it's not that hard, you know.
It's
There's a lot of information out there. It just takes time, and you got to
and
start
a lot of
somewhere.
failure. Yeah, you're
Yeah,
gonna fail. You're gonna
yeah.
fail. I've failed so many times; it's ridiculous. I'm still failing every day.
Or what's that thing that what's that famous tennis player? Anyway, basically won the most Grand Slams ever, and basically he did some statistics. They go like, you know, you're the best ever. You're a winner. He goes, I've lost more points than I've won.
Hmm.
You know, so if you look at the statistics, I only win 30% of every game or whatever, but over time that adds up to me being a champion. You know, so yeah,
Yeah,
lots of
yeah,
failure.
lots of failure. Yeah, I think that's what the sports people are good at. Basketball, football, all of them. They've gone through a ton of failure to get to where they're at. Um, Business, to me, it's about trying things. I think I've said this before. I don't know if you were there for it, but I'm trying to train myself that when I have an idea, just do it right away, because a lot of the times I'll spend so much time thinking of an idea and never doing anything about it. And then I just get more ideas and then I never do anything about those either.
Yeah,
So just training myself like, all right, there's the idea. Is it valuable? Do I think I should do it? All right, I'm just going to do it right now instead of waiting. And if it fails, so what? I learned something. I learned how to like the online party. A lot of things failed about it, but now I know how to do it the next time, and I know how to teach other people to do it the next time so that it doesn't fail. And I know how many people I need to DM next time, and I know I didn't fail on the cash flow end of things. I just failed on my quota, you know, the bar that I set for myself. Um, and technology failed. So I think a lot, you know, especially when it comes to like live streaming and doing stuff. Like with Demo Nation for us, I feel like a lot of people are afraid to do something like that, but I think everybody is capable of doing it. You just have to not be afraid. I was I
yeah.
was I was kind of afraid. Like the first couple of episodes, I had no idea what I was doing, and I was scared to go live. And then when I realized only 2 or 3 people are watching live, it went away, and then we just did whatever. And now I'm running the show by myself and doing this all the time. It's weird. Like you never would think that you're capable of doing a specific thing. You would at one point in time, if I thought, oh, I'm gonna record myself and a bunch of people are gonna watch it on video and it's just gonna be me talking or whatever, I would have been like, you're out of your mind. That sounds like that's so far out of my element. Um, but because I kept trying things that I wanted to do, it just continually led me and pushed me farther than I thought I was capable of going. And now I've written books that I had no idea. And on the abundance mindset, right? Like I think if you've got the opposite and you're thinking scarcity all the time, you're thinking like I don't have the money and I can't do it. I can't afford to pay somebody to edit a book. I can't afford to pay somebody to do this or do that. We'll go back to making connections and networking. So what happened for me was I just said I'm going to write the book, and then I realized, hey, DDA is a writer. I've got a friend that coaches writers, and I've got a friend that edits. And I sent them all the book, and all of them said, "You're on to something." And guess what? They wanted to help me for free, and I'm like, "No, I'm going to pay
Mm-hmm.
you." But if you have the abundance mindset, you'll just start to see everybody around you coming together and wanting to do stuff. If you're too in the weeds, like I could never afford to do that, you're never going to see the opportunities to make it happen.
Exactly. Just start, and the universe is funny. It will exactly what just happened to you. You know, it'll
Yeah.
throw up so many coincidences all around you. You just got to look out for them and grab them.
Yeah.